We go and grab a quick bite.
We watch a movie, then fight. We're the Fast Food Film Friends. You're listening to Fast Food Film Friends, the show where two incredible friends talk about food and movies, maybe fight a little bit, and it can turn out to be a bit salty.
But in the end, the day is saved.
That's right.
This week we'll be talking about Pixar's new summer blockbuster, Incredibles 2, while eating Burger King's crispy pretzel chicken fries.
I am excited for both. I was excited for the movie. I am excited for the food. From IMDb, the plot summary of Incredibles 2 reads as follows. Bob Parr is left to care for Jack while Helen is out saving the world.
It's a pretty bare-bones description.
That is pretty. I mean, there's a lot that happens in this movie. They probably didn't want to give anything away.
Right.
They just don't want to.
And from BurgerKing.com, the crispy pretzel chicken fries are described as follows. Made with white meat chicken, our chicken fries are coated in a salty pretzel breading seasoned with savory spices and herbs. Chicken fries are shaped like fries and are perfect to dip in any of our delicious dipping sauces.
I like that they specify that the chicken fries are shaped like fries in the description, as if the fries in the name not sufficient for your average Burger King visitor.
I wasn't sure if these are going to be fries shaped like chickens. I'm glad that they clarified.
That's a very good clarification. Now that I think about it, you're absolutely right. That is necessary. I get why they included it in there. I'm also intrigued as to the sauces. I haven't tried many of Burger King's sauces.
So Kevin and I actually are going to try these with some ranch, some honey mustard, and some barbecue.
Yes.
I figured we need to really cover the whole spectrum of sauce flavors.
We got to get them all. I'm a honey mustard man myself. Ranch, I'm not opposed to. Barbecue's hit or miss. I don't think Burger King's going to have very good barbecue sauce, but we'll see.
We'll find out.
We will find out.
So before we really dive into Incredibles 2, I wanted to ask you. Yeah. You and I are both in our 20s. We've grown up with Pixar films.
We have.
What has been your relationship to these movies? Have you seen them all? Did you love them when you were a child?
I have seen every single one. Ooh, no. There's one I haven't seen.
Is it The Good Dinosaur?
No, I own The Good Dinosaur. It is a great movie.
Really?
You should see that if you have not. Cars 2. Cars 2 would be the only one I have not seen. I've seen Cars 3, oddly enough, but not Cars 2.
Well, that kind of brings me to my next point, which is that I think that Pixar has a pretty good track record. But when it comes to sequels, at this point, they're kind of known for putting out iffy sequels. I mean,
iffy?
The Cars franchise, I saw Cars 2, and it is a train wreck of a film.
I think the whole Cars 1, 2, and 3 are the low point of the Pixar universe.
I would agree, but I think that Cars is a serviceable movie. I mean, it's fine. It's fine.
Yes.
But the second one is just an abomination that was created purely to sell toys.
Yeah, and they do. The third one, ironically, actually hits on the fact that doing stuff for too long and just trying to sell merchandise is the wrong way to go about your life, which is ironic for the Cars franchise. Now, are you a Bugs Life man or an Ants man?
I'll definitely prefer Bug's Life.
Okay, good.
That's the right answer. I love that movie, although it wasn't necessarily one of my favorites growing up. I think that the ones that really meant a lot to me when I was a child were Toy Story, Monsters, Inc., Finding Nemo, and my absolute favorite, without a doubt, was The Incredibles.
Ooh, really?
And so going into this film, my expectations were sky high, but at the same time, I had just seen a couple years ago Finding Dory, which I was pretty disappointed by.
Really?
I think that Finding Nemo is a phenomenal film, and Finding Dory is again, it was fine.
You've got a high bar. I'm going to tell you the few movies that I think are better than The Incredibles that I liked more. Obviously, Toy Story, better than The Incredibles in my mind. WALL-E, better than The Incredibles in my mind. Up, probably my favorite Pixar movie, but the one that is right there tied for first, probably, Inside Out. Absolutely loved Inside Out.
Yeah, that is true. I love Inside Out. It's really hard to compare like Pixar movies now versus when I was a kid because I'm at such a different point in my life. But Inside Out now, becoming an adult and looking back on childhood, that movie meant so much to me. But as a child, The Incredibles was just like gave me such a sense of wonder.
Yeah,
and it's a great movie. So many great films throughout their history.
Yes,
Pixar's history.
Undoubtedly, I think Ratatouille's up there too for me. And speaking of that, the director of Incredibles 2 wrote Ratatouille, actually.
Yeah, Brad Bird.
Brad Bird, who I did not know. I had no idea that he did Edna's voice for The Incredibles.
Yeah.
I had no idea. I looked that up because I was like, whose voice is that? And I saw it was him, and I could not find any footage of him online doing the voice, and it drove me insane. I spent a good hour on that at work today.
And he's
at my
great.
real job. My side job, actually. This is my main job.
Right.
But at my side job, I spent a lot of time trying to find footage of him doing that voice.
At a Family Dollar.
Yes, correct. I hop on one of the dollar computers there. That's why it takes me so long to do basic video research. Yes, that they sell for dollars. That's right. Now, the only upcoming Pixar film that's on here is just Toy Story 4, which is coming out next summer. So, we'll, stay tuned, folks. We'll get there. June 21st, 2019.
If this show still has funding in a year.
Well, we're swimming in it right now, so...
We had enough to pay for 3 sauces this week.
We did. We sprung for all 3. They said...
the sponsors called and they said, look, we heard you're doing the chicken fries.
Yep.
We got to do this right.
Do it the right way.
We're not just going to, you're not going to dip this in some ketchup.
No.
You're going to go all out.
Now I kind of feel like I want to go get some ketchup out of my fridge.
Go get some right now.
Because I feel like that's a good constant, to compare. Should I?
I think you should.
Oof. Some fresh ketchup. This is organic, but pretty good ketchup. You can tell by the dried bits hanging from the lid.
So while Kevin pours that ketchup with a nice layer of crust around the opening, I'm going to go ahead and dig in.
Ooh.
Before we take a bite out of this, I want to comment.
Not very pretzel-y.
These look essentially the same as standard chicken fries.
Do you think we just got chicken fries? Because you did mention that the man at Burger King did not know that they were selling chicken fries.
The kind fellow in the drive-thru window was not familiar with pretzel chicken fries.
Most people aren't.
I'd done my research. I was very aware of the existence of these items. And these don't look too pretzel-y, but the package literally says crispy pretzel chicken fries. And it's covered in pretzels.
Yes.
So,
but
it's possible that we're being duped.
I think we have been duped. We will see. I will say I like the amount of chicken fries that are in there. It surprised me. It felt a lot lighter than, what do I got here? 9 chicken fries. I guess that's not great, but better than like 4 chicken nuggets. How much do these run you?
I think they're about $3, but don't quote me on that.
I will not. We're definitely not recording, so let's give these little guys a shot. A little crispier. I'm just looking for like a bit of salt on the outside to prove that these are actually pretzel fries. I think I kind of see it.
Yeah, there are little pieces
of salt.
Of this kind of like extra breading. It's clearly intended to be pretzel, crispy bits. The flavor of the pretzel presence is almost non-existent in terms of flavor.
Say, yeah, I would absolutely agree. I don't think appearance or first taste really anything like a pretzel. Nothing like a pretzel at all. But they are good. I mean, it's just a lot of salt.
Yeah, it really just does taste saltier than you would expect, and that's the only difference between this and a standard like chicken nugget flavor.
A little more salt.
Yeah.
So for those of you who salt your normal chicken nuggets, you're going to love these. You're going to absolutely love these. Now, what you said you were going to do ranch first?
I think we should go ranch.
Okay. That's not my kind of ranch.
I'm not really a picky ranch guy.
Any kind of ranch?
Pretty much.
How about Netflix original series, The Ranch?
Put it in a bottle, put it on my nachos, and I'll eat it.
Wow. You go ranch on nachos. Jeez.
There is no stopping me.
That's a bold move. Yeah, ranch I'm not in love with. Now I'm going to go with another one I don't think I'm going to like, this barbecue sauce. Yeah. It's trying to be too many sauces at once, I would say. Too many options with it. And speaking of that, Jack Jack in this movie, probably one of the highlights of the movie.
Absolutely.
At the end of the last movie, so we know he has powers because he uses it to defeat Syndrome.
At the end of the first movie.
At the end of the first movie when he's trying to kidnap him, fly him up to his plane. But the parents and the family don't know that he has those powers at the beginning of this movie. But in this one, we get to find out that he's got even more powers than we knew about. And again, he was like definitely my favorite of the family in this movie.
Yeah, that was some of the most fun I had in this film was really every scene with him, you learn about at least one new power that he has.
Yeah.
It just seemed infinite.
Mm-hmm.
And it was just endless fun. And I was kind of worried going into the movie that, Jack Jack kind of became like a fan favorite character in the first film, even though he's really only present in like a 5-minute span of it. That's the only part where he's really the focus.
Making waves.
But I was worried. I thought, okay, now they're going to take him, cover the whole movie in him. There's going to be too much Jack Jack, and it's just going to be like trying to be too cute. And they did use a lot of Jack Jack, and it's all great.
It is all great.
At no point was I thinking, oh, I'm sick of Jack Jack.
I don't think I could have enough Jack Jack. Not nearly enough. I gotta say, I'm not happy with any of the sauces. I'm a big honey mustard guy. That's not my favorite honey mustard.
Yeah, the honey mustard and the barbecue, they're just like
unusual.
It's got some artificial tang
I'm guessing they go a little heavier on the preservatives because they're just sitting in like right by a window, direct
Right.
sunlight hitting them all day.
They're not sure if any customers will come today or this month. They have to make sure that their sauces can last potentially years.
Decades.
Really, Burger King is somewhat of a fallout shelter in that regard because these sauces could have been in there since the 80s.
Could have been. I am flying through these chicken fries though. Pretzel level, very low, but overall snackability, as my food marketing friends like to use, is high.
Yeah, I enjoy them. It's just absolutely nothing about this that brings anything new to the table in comparison to your standard chicken fries. My guess is that it's probably the same cost. I'm not positive of that. Mm-hmm. But if these are more expensive, certainly not worth it.
Not worth it at all.
It's just you just get some more sodium floating around in your veins.
That's where it goes. Sodium straight to the veins.
I want to go through everything that I liked about this movie.
I want to go through everything I didn't like about this movie.
Well, me first, because I said so.
Okay.
I loved the humor.
Yes.
I laughed so much in this movie. It's mostly either Jack or Dash are providing the comic relief.
Dash was great. I agree, though. Yeah, nonstop laughs. Laughed out loud a lot more than I do at most movies. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I had so much fun being back with these characters.
Mm-hmm. And it picks up right where it left off, too, which I liked that.
I was very impressed by the fact that they pick up literally the moment we leave off.
Yeah.
That's where the sequel picks up.
Yep.
And they are able to do it in a way that still feels fresh.
It does.
Right off the bat, the story already feels new. It doesn't feel like we're just covering old ground.
No. Because I think when you look back on the first one, you don't really remember that part of, you don't think about the Underminer coming up from underground. You think of, Syndrome and all the things, and then you kind of just think, oh yeah, it had like a happy-ish ending, the family was together.
And I love how they recap that.
Yes.
At the very beginning of this film, they kind of recap it using this, it's narrated by this guy who's being interrogated.
Yep.
And so
Tony.
You're seeing it through a different lens than you did in the original film. Thought that was great.
That was.
Another thing I loved about this film...
Wait, can I guess?
Yeah.
The action and fighting.
Absolutely.
Oh, God, it was so good.
The action sequences in this movie are absolutely on par with any other action film.
100% agree.
It was energetic.
Yep.
I was on the edge of my seat. The scene when Elastigirl is on her motorcycle.
Yes.
Incredible. No pun intended. Absolutely no pun intended.
God.
But I loved it. Every action scene in this film,
Yes.
with the exception of one, which we're going to talk about in a bit,
Oh, wow.
I loved.
I'm curious to know what that one is. I think just the variety, because they bring in so many new superheroes who all have these really unique, kind of weird powers, watching them fight together and how quickly and how differently they all use their powers to fight was like, you never know what's going to happen in a fight scene, and it's always something unexpected. I think the best character in the fighting, in my opinion, was Void.
Yeah, so fun.
So fun because she can open portals, but when somebody's trying to punch her, she opens up a portal and makes them punch themselves. Like, makes them fall from the ceiling to the ground, makes them run right through the same place over and over again. I thought she was so fun to watch in fight scenes.
Not only were the new characters fun, but Elastigirl and Violet's powers were used in ways that we didn't see them used in the previous film. And Violet especially, her force field power wasn't just used for defense. She kind of used these force field weapons almost.
Yeah.
So cool.
That was one of my nitpicks though.
What's
in this
that?
movie is that it picks up right where we left off, right? Mm-hmm. And she was not exactly a master of her skills or abilities. She was kind of nervous, not really sure of herself. I know towards the end of the movie they show her as like a new, confident young lady who goes up to the Tony and asks him on a date type deal. But I was like, right away she's using her powers for pretty complex things compared to what she did in the first movie, and I was like, that was one nitpick that it would seem too advanced.
To be fair, at the end of The Incredibles, you've got they're at Dash's track meet.
Yes.
That's where the film ends.
Yep.
The time between the climax of that film and then that scene of them at Dash's track meet, that could have been months.
That's fair too, because I guess Dash does learn to tamp down his running,
right?
And not be so fast.
So she could have had time to kind of hone her skills and stuff.
I will take back my nitpick. I will place the nit back. Other than Violet, kind of mastering her powers too quickly, which I will take back as something I didn't like. Mrs. Incredible, Elastigirl. The beginning of this film and part of The Incredibles too, the first movie, is them, superheroes have been banned. They're illegal, and they're kind of trying to toe the line of, do we want to break the law and save people, or do we want to, respect the law and obey the law and be good law-abiding citizens and not be superheroes, go about our normal lives. And she is, Mrs. Incredible, very much at the beginning of this movie talking to Mr. Incredible, saying, we have to obey the law. If there's no law, there's chaos. Very by the books, all about them not being superheroes and obeying the law. The second she gets the opportunity, she goes out and does her superhero stuff, but she gets a flashy new suit and a new super bike, and instantly kicks off going about 90 onto a highway, weaving in between traffic like a maniac. And I just thought, how are you gonna not respect those laws? Basic traffic laws?
Yeah, I think she kind of gets like smoothed into this job, and I think the risks of this job that she takes are not really established. Like, at no point is she seem to be like being particularly careful about not being caught.
Yeah.
I did think that was kind of odd.
Yeah.
How she just was kind of okay with doing that.
Well, Bob does talk her into it pretty heavily, though. He kind of puts like the future of all superheroes in her hands, essentially, at the beginning of this movie. I just thought, for somebody who's so hard up about the rules and the law, that she would respect basic traffic laws, and I thought that was a big character flaw for this movie. That
you wanted to see her like stop at every stop sign.
Yeah. Or at least just stay in a lane, not be dividing two lanes going up the middle of two cars. One convertible almost crashes because they're like in awe that it's Elastigirl.
We are going to write a letter to Pixar about the influence that their movies are having on children.
Absolutely.
Because I think that the roads are just going to be absolute anarchy.
Chaos.
So the one thing that I did not like about this film,
yes,
I was really disappointed by.
Wow, really disappointed? Scale of 1 to 10, how disappointed?
Well,
actually, give me an event in your life that is synonymous with this level of disappointment.
I was at my graduation.
Wow.
And neither of my parents showed up.
I don't mean to laugh. Sorry, I see the tears forming in your eye right now. I don't mean to laugh, but that's a very good comparison.
They were at the movies that day.
Watching The Incredibles?
They were seeing Star Wars on opening day without me.
Oh, jeez.
And it was my birthday.
This is a very big disappointment for you. I am very intrigued as to what this bit will be. What was it?
So I want to reiterate, I loved this film for the most part. I had a lot of fun in this movie. I thought it was overall pretty great. However, I think that the ending was a massive letdown. I think and we're going to get into this in spoilers. It's really hard to talk about this right now without getting into a spoiler segment.
Sure.
But the climax is a bit of a rehash of the last films. I think that the impact of the events in this movie are very small. And by the end, when the end credits came up, I just asked myself, what was really the point of this movie?
I think I will actually agree with you there. I thought it was going to be a much more specific bit that got to you. But I had predicted basically the villain and what the ending would be probably 25 minutes into this movie.
Right. There's a bit of a twist that's it's pretty predictable.
But I think overall the whole plot was relatively predictable. I think the thing that made this movie so good was the action. It was the comedy. It was the stuff kind of in between the big plot points.
Yep.
It was the family being the family. It was the superheroes fighting. But the plot itself was your basic superhero, very similar to the first in terms of structure at least. But I absolutely agree with that. That was one thing that I was... But again, both of you and I loved this movie, even with that. Any other movie that predictable, I'm probably not going to like, but this one totally redeemed itself with the dialogue and the action.
Yeah, so fun. The journey getting to that point was fantastic, but the impact that a disappointing ending can have on my impression of a movie is like, that can be everything. I was walking out of the theater thinking, I'm not really even sure how I felt about that, even though for those 2 hours I was laughing and on the edge of my seat and having fun. So the villain in this movie starts out really interesting, and I was compelled to learn more about them. The design of the villain, the things we were learning about them, I was like, wow, this is like a very original, pretty dark villain for a kids movie like this.
Definitely unique.
As time went on, as we learned more about the villain, got our twists and turns, by the end of the film, not even the end, by like 2/3 of the way through, I no longer cared whatsoever about the villain.
I agree. It is a very unique villain. Just the personality traits, like you said, way outside of the norm for a kids movie, I think. And very interesting, actually.
So I want to talk more about that, but we got to get into our spoiler segment. So before we get to that, are there any last thoughts that you want to say?
I don't think so. Other than go see this movie. That's about it.
I agree. I had a lot of fun.
Yep.
In my opinion, didn't live up to the first one, but it was worth the watch. It was fun.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it. Before we get to our spoiler snack segment, let's hear a word from our sponsors.
Are you a millennial who was spoon-fed delicious meals from a baby boomer your entire life? Are your student loans and soul-crushing 9-to-5 job making you too depressed to do anything when you get home from work? Well, instead of going to the grocery store and interacting with real people, sign up for Blue Apron. We'll deliver day-old produce to you and somewhat frozen meat for you to heat up in the one lonely pot that you have. Blue Apron, because you might finally feel like you're accomplishing something.
And we are back, and we're ready for our spoiler snack segment, the part of the show where we talk full spoilers,
Yes.
all plot details of the film, and we also eat a snack. And this week, what are we eating, Kevin?
This is the first time I've actually been looking forward to our spoiler snack. I've never tried this before, from this place. And a lot of people are familiar with this item in the fast food realm, but not from this place. We're going to try some of Burger King's Dutch apple pie. A slice each. Now, unlike, I think, the king of fast food apple pie, McDonald's, which is almost Hot Pocket-esque, Burger King really stayed true here to the pie form.
They give you a nice slice in a pie slice-shaped container.
Yes, it's a little triangular container. You know, it looks like actual real apple pie from the Dutch, apparently.
I think it's shipped overnight.
It could be. But I'm intrigued. You know, I didn't even know they had apple pie until we were looking at the Burger King website. I had no idea. You said you have some experience with this?
I've had some of those pies many years ago. I kind of forget what they're like, so I'm really excited to dig in. So let's do that.
Let's try it. Are you a crust guy on pie?
Oh, I love crust.
Okay. Like the earth?
Yes, the mantle, the core.
Yeah.
The crust, though, is my favorite layer.
Yeah. Holy shit.
It's really pretty good.
That's pretty good.
It's got some nice goo. I love a nice gooey apple pie.
Yeah.
And the crust is actually, it's
Pretty good.
it's good. And the
Fresh
apples
not
actually,
fresh.
It tastes like they may have been picked in the last 5 years.
This is honestly on par with probably any apple pie, fast food or not, that I've had.
Wow.
I know. I'm not a big pie guy, though.
I am calling all of America's grandmothers and telling them what you just said.
Do it. Tell them to step their game up. Burger King's cranking out 1 million of these a day. Granny can only do, what, 1? Maybe 2? But I am, wow. I can't believe that. How is this not more well-known? I think this puts McDonald's pies to shame.
Yeah. It's been quite a while since I've had a McDonald's apple pie, but
I'm taken aback by how much I like this.
you're impressed.
I am impressed. Similar to how I felt walking out of this movie. Just impressed with how well it was done.
So, as I stated as we went into our break a few minutes ago, the villain in this film is
Yes.
Screenslaver.
I thought it was a great name. I have to say. The first time you see
Wonderful
it,
name, yeah.
when it comes up on the screen.
As soon as I heard it, I was like, the moment they thought of that, they ran to like the copyright office
Yeah,
or the trademark, and they're like, we have to get this right now. This is an incredible villain name.
it is. Really, yeah, just genius.
So, now that we're in the spoiler segment, we can say the Screenslaver, the villain, is Evelyn Dever.
Yeah.
The twist was fairly predictable. I think I certainly
Yeah.
saw it coming. And the whole idea of the job that they put Elastigirl up to is kind of seems like, okay, obviously it's kind of like a hidden agenda here.
Yes.
So the Screenslaver, hacks screens, which by the way, this movie takes place in the
60s?
Yeah, I think 60s or so. Is able to hack screens and use this kind of hypnosis to captivate whoever's watching it and control their minds.
Yep.
There's a scene where the Screenslaver announces, her manifesto, basically. He's saying, the reason I'm doing this is because you are all addicted to screens. You are addicted to entertainment. You look to superheroes to save you. You want to like vicariously experience life through others.
You don't
which is
play
why,
games, you watch game shows. You don't
Right.
cook, you watch cooking shows.
And it's just like, I just sat there thinking, like, the scene itself was done really well, like the voice effects and the way it's like a voiceover while Elastigirl is
Scouring the city.
finding her.
Yeah.
It was really cool. And
It was.
I was thinking to myself, I'm like, this is like a really dark moment
Yeah.
for children. And it's just because this idea is really directly condemning audiences such as the one who would go to a movie like this.
Yeah.
It's criticizing people who admire superheroes. And that's everyone sitting in front of this screen, people who want to watch heroes save the day. And so I was really interested. I was like, wow, what an idea to introduce. I can't wait to see how how it comes around and how the film answers that.
Yeah.
And it does not.
Well, it's kind of I think that's kind of a pseudo motive. I don't think that's her real motive. I think she's saying that to not be found out. I think her real motive is because of her backstory with superheroes and her parents.
So you think that was all just completely made up?
I think that was misdirection to not point to her, really.
But even then, even if it is complete misdirection, just what a weird choice for the filmmakers of this movie to say, we're going to throw this idea in there.
Yeah,
just
in a movie.
And then, just not bring it back up again.
I agree. I agree. You've been into that a lot more than I did. Like, I didn't, when I saw that at the time, yes. But then when she, later on, she's got Elastigirl in that chamber where it's too cold, so if she stretches, she breaks. And she, kind of recaps again, like, her and Bob Odenkirk's parents, their dad was really close with superheroes. He had direct lines to the superheroes. Their house gets broken into. The mom wants to go into a safe room, technology. The dad wants to call the superheroes. Superheroes don't answer. Parents get killed. And she kind of monologues on that for a while. I think that's her real motivation.
So that, true motivation of her parents' death is so much less interesting than the lie that she tells.
Yeah, I guess, but it's still, I think, a more realistic motive. I don't.
Well, that takes me to the last act of this movie.
Mm-hmm.
The villain falls apart, and at first you have this really cool idea of she's controlling the minds of superheroes, so their own powers are being used for evil.
Mm-hmm.
But then they all just kind of free each other. Jack happens to get off Elastigirl's thing, and then there's not I was thinking at least okay, I'm expecting there'd be she was not outsmarted. I was thinking there'd be maybe also some fight between the heroes who are not being controlled and the heroes who are.
Yeah.
But they all just instantly free each other. Yeah. And it's a very and then
her plan,
the climax ends with the ship just being steered. They're on this giant yacht.
Yeah.
And it's steered away from the city, and then the villain is caught. It's just I feel like the villain's story arc is set up so well, and over the course of the movie becomes less and less interesting. And by the end, I was like,
I think you're putting way too much into her plan. I mean, her plan is basically slap a pair of goggles on people. It's not that good of a plan.
But I think that could have been used as a much more interesting dynamic in the story.
Sure. They could have had...
that's what I'm criticizing.
Sure.
Absolutely.
I could say, this movie wasn't a lot of things that it could have been. I mean, it wasn't a Mission Impossible movie.
Well, my point is that what it was for the last 30 minutes was a complete letdown, because the movie introduced so many new ideas throughout. It was a fresh movie. There was a lot of stuff characters did, the way things looked, the action, so much stuff was inventive and new, and at the end it just ends in the least compelling way possible.
But here's the deal. I think you're putting way too much in her. Her name's literally the screenslaver, because the only way she controls people is via screens or these goggles that are basically screens.
I get that.
It's not, I know, but it's not that intricate of a plan. The only way she implements it, because she takes them one at a time, kind of uses them against each other bit by bit until she has basically all the superheroes she wants under her control. I think it's a very appropriate ending. I think it's a perfectly balanced to, a mediocre plan where she puts goggles on people, and guess what? The goggles get taken off. That, it's pretty well balanced in my mind. I get what you're saying. I just don't think you're right at all.
Well, I'm going to agree to disagree very hard with you on that.
Yeah.
But
I think one thing we can agree on. Do you have one point there that you want to touch on?
Were you going to mention the apple pie? Because if so, yes, I also love the apple pie.
I love this. We've both finished our pie. This is probably the first time I've finished a spoiler snack in a long time. And I finished the chicken pretzel fries as well. That pie blew me away. That pie absolutely blew me away.
That pie was the conclusion that I wanted from this movie. Because in the final moments of this film, let me take you back to The Incredibles from 2004. The end of that film, we got our climax. Our family comes together with Frozone. They defeat the big bad robot. They save the day. Mm-hmm. We then flash forward to Dash's track meet. Yep. We see that, Dash is finally able to reach his full potential. Violet is confident. Jack gets his powers. Like this family is evolving. They walk out of the parking lot. The Underminer comes barreling through the ground, and we see like, oh, this is a bigger, badder threat than we've seen them face. But we know the world is safe because in their hands. It's such an amazing ending because it just leaves so much to your imagination. You think, oh wow, this family is gonna have so many great adventures. They can save the world.
I'm going to disagree with you on this too. I'm going to disagree with you on this.
What do you disagree with about that?
You think the Underminer is a bigger threat than Syndrome?
When I say bigger, I mean in terms of size alone. I'm not comparing how threatening they are.
You just literally mean that machine is bigger than the robot?
Yeah, it's the visual of it.
Physically, I can't argue with you.
The visual of it is more daunting. Anyways, my point is that we are left seeing, okay, the Incredibles, there's a new threat they're facing, but we know that they can save the world. We trust, the world is a better place with them in it. It's a great ending, leaves you with a sense of wonder, and I just for years I used to think about, what if the Incredibles did this? I loved that film, loved where it left off.
You haven't slept for 14 years.
Incredibles 2. Let me paint a different picture.
The Incredibles 2.
It's not called The Incredibles 2. It's called Incredibles 2, and I've done the research to prove it.
You know what? You're correct.
The has been removed.
Wow.
From the title.
Weird.
Incredibles 2.
Yeah, I got it now. Point made.
We don't know which Incredibles.
No, I don't know.
Some Incredibles 2.
I thought it was
they might as well have called it that.
I thought it was just 2 of them, actually, going into this. But
when this film ends...
Oh, God. I already know I'm going to disagree with what you're going to say, and
the villain...
I just need another slice of this fucking pie, because I'm getting flustered, Nathan.
The villain, Evelyn, is arrested, and Violet makes this joke, just for giggles, about how the fact that Evelyn is rich means that she won't face consequences.
It's a commentary on the world we live in, Nathan.
I get that, but I'm just this isn't grounded in reality. And as soon as she said that, I was like...
that's the worst... Oh my God. Okay, this goes against everything you said, so they can make a social commentary about the real world, about screen usage, but they can't make a social commentary on rich people getting off with light sentences. You're drawing a line. You're drawing a line. You're saying they can't do it one.
You are putting words in my mouth.
I didn't put those. You said that.
The reason why Violet's joke at the end bothers me so much is because it directly undermines the impact of a climax. When a villain is defeated and then somebody jokes that they're not even going to face consequences. What was the point of any of this?
I get that. Okay. If that's the issue, is that it takes away from the ending? Sure.
It removed almost all impact from Evelyn being captured.
I don't think there was much impact to take away from. I think, here's the deal.
You thought it was already bad.
No, I just don't think she was that impactful of a villain. I think the real thing that people are worried about, it's not what's going to happen to the villain. Is the whole world going to be against superheroes or not? She has it. She frames it up really well. She takes them hostage. They send a hostile message to basically all normal people, and then they're about to destroy a city. So in your head, I think the real thing you're worried about is if people are going to hate superheroes forever. I think that's way more impactful than whatever the hell happens to her. Nobody cares what happens to her. She can be free and inventing again in no time. I don't care.
Apparently nobody cares. So you're saying that the scene after that where we see the politicians signing into law, legalizing superheroes, you feel like that was more of the closure?
I guess.
That was really what we were going for.
I think it secures another cash grab with Incredibles 3. Maybe the Incredibles 3. I don't know if they're going to bring the back. I think you're giving the screenslaver, Evelyn, too much credit. And I think you're focusing too much on her. I think it's more society versus superheroes than her versus superheroes.
I get that, and that actually does that puts it in a light that I did not think of, and because I didn't. But to me, I'm just telling you what my experience was watching this film. The social, political, the story here. I wasn't really thinking much about that. I was more interested in because, like I said, okay, I was super into the Screenslaver. I thought. I couldn't wait to see where this went. I thought it was so new and exciting, and it ended nowhere. It was just a disappointing ending. And you know what? I think that on second watch, when I watch this film again, which I'm sure I will look past that and be able to just enjoy what else there is. Because I loved this movie for the most part, and I loved the journey to the ending. But I was zeroing in too closely on the hero villain story that I don't think was meant to be the focus.
I think you're just missing. You're focusing on that one Violet joke and like her getting put into the back of a cop car. If you think about it, the climax, it's a high-speed boat crash, underwater adventure. She's in a jet falling through the sky. It's a pretty intense, but it teeters. I mean, the boat stopping, I don't think is the climax. I think it's everything that's happening on the boat before it stops is the climax, and then it all kind of teeters out.
Yeah, there's definitely some good stuff there. Mostly when the heroes are fighting each other because they're under mind control.
God, I love that.
Like, there was some fun stuff there. Mm-hmm. But you're right. I was probably looking too much into that one aspect when I don't think that shouldn't be the focus. But
that to me is like, I'm trying to think, like a stupid joke they make in the parking lot at the end of the first one. Like, you're done already. You know, it's kind of wrapping it up. It's just tightening that bow on top a little tighter. It's not really the meat of it, I guess, in my mind. One thing I think we can both agree on, and might have been my favorite scene, Jack and the raccoon.
Yeah, it was great.
I was laughing hysterically. Not only they're revealing all of his powers in such a unique, fun way, and the raccoon, I don't know like how they did that so well, but it seems like a real raccoon, and the reactions are like so cartoony, but it still seems like I don't know. I just loved it. I loved every part of that
and
scene.
He's just like terrified.
I am. When the laser eyes come out. But I loved one moment for me that I laughed at really hard is when Mr. Incredible picks him up and he's like, "You've got powers!" And he's like, "You can go through any solid object." And it kind of like dawns on him. And I'm a dad, so I think I related to this more in my head, thinking like, oh my God, like how hard it would be to control a kid who literally can just go through walls and like do anything it wants. And there's a moment where like he just kind of stares for a second. Like he's really excited about the powers, but then he just stares, and I was like, oh God, that'd be scary. But that fight was so good.
Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I also had that thought many times of like, this family has a lot of work cut out for them.
Oh my God, yeah. I think it's Mr. Incredible trying to do everything at home too was pretty funny.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, that was a good little
At first, I was
montage.
a little disappointed that the family was like split up for most of the movie. I kind of want to see them together, but it made for some really great scenes. Like Mr. Incredible trying to deal with the stuff that his wife does every day.
And I think it made for a really good reunion too, because at the beginning of this movie, it's kind of like they save the day with the Underminer, but the parents are kind of like, you guys shouldn't be doing that with us. Like, thanks for the help, but you need to take care of each other. Don't be putting yourselves at risk. We're a family, but you guys are like priority number one. Like, don't do that next time, kind of. And then when they come to save her and they save both of them, the kids are almost worried that they're going to be mad at them. But then the mom, is like, oh, of course not. Like, you saved the day. I love you, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
But I think it was a good, powerful reunion. And I'm going to bring up another favorite part, and I'm sorry that most of my favorite parts are Jack. But Edna and Jack's relationship was like so hilarious when he mimics her. Oh my God.
Yeah.
I was losing. When they're walking down the hall and he's got his lollipop and she's got like her cigarette holder and he's doing the exact same motions as her. I lost it. Oh my God. I loved it so much.
Yeah. And I was worried that a movie like this would just be full of like callbacks. Like, oh, remember how much you love Edna? Well, here's Edna.
Yeah.
But her parts were great. Like it's really a similar kind of thing where one of the parents goes to her house. Yeah. They're with her for like 10 minutes, and that's pretty much it.
They come back.
But it's so much fun.
It's almost, now that I think about it, shot for shot the same. But it's such a different, because even, in the first one, she does like the eye scan and the voice scan and the thing scan. In this one, she has Jack do all three of those to get into like her secret lab. And then she shows the benefits of his little costume in the chamber, as she calls it, to the dad. But it's, very similar, but done in, like you said, in such a fun way. And like right off the bat, you don't think Edna's going to be good with kids. Like, she clearly is not interested in the baby. Like, but then once the powers come out and he turns, he like matches her hair and her nose and her eyes and starts floating. She's like just amazed, and you can tell how fascinated she is. And I like how they give her one night and she does like this miraculous thing, and it's like totally just kind of like it doesn't make any sense, but we're gonna go with it because it's Edna and she can do whatever she wants. Like,
right. It is funny how like, when I was younger, like seeing Edna do crazy stuff, I was like, "Oh, that's cool. She can do this." But now, as an adult, I'm thinking like the logistics. Yes. I'm like, "Okay, come on. Yeah. You have to get that sent off, get custom made."
Yep.
Last night,
and she's it's like nobody even blinks an eye. Like, I know you're impressed by what I can do in one night. I didn't sleep at all. You do a much better Edna than I, so I should have had you.
Edna Mode.
That's the only Edna I've heard you do is just saying the name, but it works. It works for me.
So, the ending of this film, I think, pretty heavily implies that this family's adventure is going to continue.
Absolutely.
You looking forward to Incredibles 3?
I am. I think if they stay kind of true to it, I think it's going to be a similar thing where it's going to be structurally will be probably very similar to the first two. But I think there's just so much material they can do with, making the kids a little older, Jack maybe being a teenager and the other two like graduating high school.
I definitely am much more interested in seeing I am glad that Incredibles 2 picked up where the first one left off. The family story in this film was good, but I really want to see in 5 years
something new.
What is this family doing?
I think there's a lot of ways they could do it because they could go total left turn, totally different type of movie too. But
so it's time for a verdict here. Now, first off, the crispy pretzel chicken fries from Burger King. Recommend?
I don't think I'm going to recommend. I think if you're going to go chicken fries, just go normal chicken fries. I would recommend nuggets, probably.
Yeah, I would too.
I think the chicken fries, you get more breading than anything else.
Right. If you're a breading person, go fries.
Yeah. If you like breading and salt.
Otherwise, go nugs.
Yeah. I'd say keep it nuggy. But I would not recommend those. No. They're not bad. If you want to give them a shot, sure. Try it. I'd say they're probably a Cars 3.
But if you're looking for actually a pretzel flavor in your chicken fries, you're going to be sadly disappointed.
Yeah, you don't. These are not pretzel-y at all. That was a big letdown. Totally counteracting all those negative points that I just gave to Burger King. This apple pie, oh my God, changed my life. I can't even believe I'm never eating a McDonald's apple pie again. I will go to McDonald's if I'm craving McDonald's for food, but I will go to Burger King for my apple pie.
It's delicious.
It was so good. I'm not going to look up the health information because it's probably terrible for you.
Your life would be better if you don't know.
Yes, absolutely. But wow, I was blown away. I think also the triangle serving box that it comes in, I thought would be difficult to eat on the road out of, but it was surprisingly easy to scoop out of there.
Yeah, once you get that first bite, it's pretty simple.
You got some room to work with. I can't say enough about it. I would sit here and talk about it all day if you let me, Nathan.
Burger King does have 5 varieties of pies.
I never knew this.
I think we need to do a Burger King pie extravaganza episode.
My stomach already hurts thinking about that.
So, Incredibles 2, you think it was a worthy sequel to the original?
I think it was a great sequel. I think we agree on a lot. We disagree on a lot. Surprisingly, I thought we'd be on the same page for most of this. But I was very happy with it. I think it was a fun new ride with a lot of new fun characters. I liked the ending myself. I liked it. I was very happy. I have a smile on my face just thinking about the fun times. I want to watch the raccoon fight and every Jack scene 10 more times. But I loved it. You, I'm assuming, did too. Overall.
Yeah, I want to be clear. I spent a lot of time in this episode talking about the very specific things I was disappointed by, but almost entirely, I love this film.
Yes.
And there's very specific parts I was just a little let down by, but this movie is so funny. The action is fantastic.
Yes.
Truly. The family dynamic is great. This movie is so fresh. Fun new characters.
Yes.
New places. The design of everything.
Beautiful film.
Yeah. Gorgeous settings.
Yes.
It really blew me away in nearly every way.
I agree. I realize we haven't touched on 2 characters who I thought they're meant to be in there as kind of jokes. Screech, the owl one, and then the Reflux, the guy who just burps up basically hot magma.
That was the scene at the very end where he vomits 10 times his body weight in magma, and it's pretty disgusting.
It was pretty gross, but I liked the Screech one, who's is like an owl, I guess. He can have powers like an owl.
That's Screech from Saved by the Bell.
As this superhero.
Yes.
But I liked that there's one scene on the boat where he's fighting, I think, Violet, and she's tying him up with something, and she runs around him, and his head spins 360 degrees
I didn't even notice
owl,
that.
and I lasso that, so I just want to get that in there.
All right, so that's a big thumbs up from us for Incredibles 2.
And Burger King apple pie. I think the shining star, Burger King apple pie. If you gave me a choice to see this movie again or eat another slice of that pie, I'd honestly probably go with the pie.
I would gladly sneak in another slice to a second viewing of this film.
Yeah. Happily.
I think we should go do that right now.
Do you think we could get just a whole pie, or do you think they only sell these in slices? it seems like they're baked in these little containers. They're
I would
pretty
say
tight
that
in there.
I would say that we should go ask our friend at Burger King, but he was not even aware of the existence of the pretzel chicken fries, so I'm sure that he would not be able to answer that for us.
Yeah. If you're not a fry guy, probably not a pie guy.
If you work for Burger King corporate and you want to give us a call, let us know if there's full-size pies available. We would really appreciate it.
Yeah, I would, especially. Because I could bring that home for a holiday. 4th of July, tossing out slices of pie. What a guy, he said with a sigh.
You can find all of our episodes on Apple Podcasts,
Yeah.
Anchor.fm, or pretty much wherever else you find podcasts.
Yeah, you absolutely can. We also do have some social media if you want to follow us on Instagram or find us on Facebook at Fast Food Film Friends. And while you're there, shoot us a note. Tell us what you thought. Tell us if you tried this delicious pie.
And let us know how much salt you like on your chicken fries. And also, while you're on our Facebook, give us a message. Let us know if there's any food or movies that we should check out for next episode. And until next time, farewell.